Before I start, I apologize if I am pronouncing any Korean names wrong. More importantly, the content of this video are my own personal opinions and interpretations of the webtoon or manhwa. Yo webtooners, so I was scrolling down in Manga Kakalot's homepage to see if I could find anything else interesting as I caught up once again with the series I was currently reading and watching. By luck or fate, I found the manhwa or webtoon titled Girl's World. I looked at the cover photo and wasn't appealing. The art style looked like it was going to be some shoujo-ish coming-of-age manhwa with lots of cliché and cheesy writing. Moreover, the comic description wasn't alluring either. Nevertheless, I clicked on it because I didn't want to judge a book by its cover and I wanted to kill some time as well. So I went to the comment section, my reliable source of information and rating. Well, of course, I don't fully rely on it. But thanks to the comment section, I found out its other title, its webtoon title, Other Out. I wasn't completely surprised, but I admit I was kind of taken aback by the fact that it had a lot of positive reactions from the readers, some even saying it was a gem rather. But still at this point, I was hesitating whether I should invest my time in this comic. Stories with male leads are often my preference, but it does not prevent me from enjoying any kind of well-written material. And also one thing I need to add is that I thought this was going to be an episodic comedy series. By the time I found this webtoon, it already had about 230 chapters. I preferred something with a plot or story if it was going to be long, so yes, it was kind of intimidating for me. Man, I miss the days when I could binge episodic and formulaic series such as City Hunter and Detective Conan. Now I can't even muster the energy to binge watch 3 episodes of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure anime or 5 chapters of its manga. But boy was I completely wrong, it had more than what I had anticipated. I never even noticed when I started binge reading it. The first few chapters were mainly focused on comedy. Its gags weren't that captivating for me at first, but that's only because I've already got lots of comedy gold under my belt. But I know for sure that if this was me a few years back, I would have died laughing. Plus, I continued the series because it was kind of refreshing to read a different genre. I've been watching action too much. This manhwa starts with Nari-O, a relatively ordinary-looking girl who ends up getting stuck with the girl group of goddesses. She was undeniably uncomfortable being with this group as the 3 were strikingly the prettiest in the whole school while she was, nothing out of the ordinary in terms of looks compared to them. Their group gained popularity and she hated the attention and stares that came their way. She could imagine and hear what the people would talk about her. Not fitting in the group, a wannabe, and a plain-looking girl. She was also used by the boys as a delivery carrier to send gifts to the other girls. It was a lot for her to handle, especially as she thought her high school life was going to be a fresh start. She was chubby in primary school and became fatter in middle school. She went through a diet and was successful. She wanted to be pretty and be popular, and tried very hard in order to meet her goals. That was until her expectations were shattered by being together with Yuna Lim, Miraiso, and Sonji that she just wanted to be on the sidelines. She couldn't help but feel inferior as she saw herself as an ugly duckling compared to these pretty swans. Moreover, other students did not really have any positive comments towards her. She was kind of ignored among the boys. The story is written in a continuous storytelling style, which was the opposite of what I was expecting. The story as it continues further isn't probably anything new or refreshing for anybody who's already seen a lot of school drama. There will be many conflicts that the characters would undergo through, such as school and life struggles, bullying, discrimination, being ostracized, rumors, misunderstandings, and self-worth. Though the conflict of the story itself is not unique, I can agree with many others out there that it was handled pretty well. And whenever there's a conflict in the story, it doesn't necessarily get resolved in a happily ever after manner, nor it ends so bitterly that you hate the direction the story was going. Nevertheless, when a conflict ends, there's that sense of satisfaction as the characters grow and mature as they realize their shortcomings and strengths. It's also not a story where when the story arc ends or when a conflict gets resolved, it seems as if nothing ever happened and everyone is in good terms. The early conflicts that would transpire in the story with Nari and her classmates have an impact on their long-term relationship and their characters. Even after having a closure, there remains a wall. but at least the relationships have become at least much better compared to the initial hostility emanated. Another thing I like about this webtoon is that sometimes a conflict between characters only truly gets closure at a later time and not when the story arc has ended. After all, resolving a dispute is not something that can easily be done after a history of ill-disposed behaviors that have happened. Some may go back to the way they were before or even better, but some could never be the way they were before. Regarding the characters' backstories are handled, it was a nice touch from the author to sprinkle a bit of information here, especially about Nari and Yuna's past. While the author provided us a look into their relationships by providing us a chapter dedicated to their backstory, she still leaves some room for us to interpret before she tells the whole story and everything comes full circle. Our main protagonist, Nari-O, has one of the finest character developments I've ever seen in a comic. She grows and matures not straight away but gradually. If you don't like wimpy protagonists, do not worry. She may feel inferior at the start of the series, which is to be expected, but our main character will grow some confidence and self-love along the way that makes you proud of how far she's reached. It was inspirational too. There were times she bottles up her worries and concerns, but you'd be glad when she opens them up to her friends. But of course, the comic still shows that she's human. Even though she's gained confidence in herself, there are times when she falters. A trait that I especially like about her is that even when the conflicts between her and her classmates have died down, she doesn't want to act like nothing ever happened, though she doesn't want to dwell on it either. Yuna Lim is Nari's childhood friend. She's shown to be an ice queen that hangs around Nari. At the start, I didn't know how to feel about her. She was cool towards Nari but was kind of cold towards others like Mirai and Sanji. Though she was good to Nari, she also seemed like a controlling person as given in Nari's flashback in chapter 1 where she was seen to order Nari to bark like a seal. And this is only a minor spoiler, but at some point in the early chapters, she was also shown to prank Nari by giving her a soap wrap in a transparent plastic which made it look like edible food. And when Nari wants to leave their group, she prevents her by using her weakness, cake and food. But before you judge her, remember that you've only seen some part of the story. You'll get to understand her sooner enough. Even if you come to hate her at first, I'm pretty sure that you'll come to love her. I especially like her development because even when she gradually grew and became more open to others, she still maintains her character and strong traits, which made her who she is. Then we have Sanji and Mirai Saw. Sanji is kind and pure. She was a lonely and ostracized student for most of her school life because of a rumor. I don't want to explore too much in her past because I might spoil something, but you'd be glad how Nari sticks with her. Though you may find Sanji as the purest and weakest in the group, it shall not let you be blinded by the fact that she's cutely savage and willing to hit you with a hard bread when she's angry. Mirai So, on the other hand, is the most fun or lively person in the group, but we all know that everyone has a story behind her smiles. Her relationship with Yuna was the most mysterious for me. She hangs around Yuna, which was how she met the others, but Yuna pushes her away or puts a wall between them. The relationship was rather complicated even though they seem to know each other well. Each of these characters have a unique backstory of their own, and it was the best part for me in season 1. The author doesn't just focus on the main characters though. She nicely allocates time to introduce and explore side characters to enrich the story but without dwelling on them. The art style for this manhwa is lighthearted and unique. Though the art style may look goofy, it will not hinder you from feeling the heavy tones and emotions in the story. Overall, I can say that this light and heartwarming webtoon was very entertaining, for I was able to binge read it till I caught up. There was never a point where I wanted to drop this series. I was especially able to do so because the story arcs are fleshed out without getting dragged out, being repetitive or going into circles. Even if you're into action or fighting comics, trust me, you'd enjoy this series. Just try 10 chapters or so before you decide whether you want to continue or drop it. That's it for today's webtoon recommendations, and for the next video, I will be recommending an action series.